Hi everyone, my name is Kate. Welcome back to my wondernetting channel. Today we are making a lacy crochet hat. You've probably seen them all over the Pinterest or maybe on your favorite influencers. But we are not doing the basic mesh, we are going a little extra and building this beauty with the motifs. I think if you will add to this hat maybe little hangings, it will be gorgeous too, like on these photos. I also decided to add a little sparkle touch with the sequin yarn. Of course, I'll show you what yarn I used. I will show you how to crochet this hat with cotton yarn in one thread, but if you want the result as mine, you need to crochet in two threads. One thread is cotton yarn, the second thread is sequin yarn. I recommend working with 2 or even 3 strands to get that cozy, voluminous texture. We'll use join as you go continuous motifs, so there are a few ends to view in as possible. Of course, I'll show you everything step by step. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video and leave your comment, it will help others to see this video. And let's get started. We will need less than 1 skein of lace weight yarn. It's a 50-gram skein with 280 meters. I'm using Rainbow Lace by Hobby. It's 100% mercerized cotton. Really soft to the touch with a silky finish. You can even wash it at 60 degrees, which is super practical. Honestly, I'm really happy with this yarn. I'll be using it in my future tutorials. The color I have here is 02. And I'll leave the link to this yarn in the description below this video. From Hobby I also ordered this yarn Go Handmade Party Deluxe. It's sparkly yarn with sequins in this beautiful creamy shade. I'll also leave the link to it in the description. Definitely check out Hobby's website and treat yourself to this yarn. And for today's project we'll also need 2.5mm hook and scissors. We're starting with a slip knot and chain 16. Like I mentioned, we'll be working with continuous motifs. This is the very first one, and as soon as we finish it, we'll move right into the next motif without cutting the yarn. It's nothing complicated, just keep an eye on what I'm doing and follow along. Insert a hook into the 5th chain from the hook. Remember, the loop on the hook doesn't count, and work 3 slip stitches in a row. 1 into the next loop, 2 and into the next loop, 3. Now chain 1 and you'll see that a little ring has formed at the base, and now into this ring we are going to work a combination of double crochet plus 1 chain. Repeat the sequence double crochet chain 1 11 times. So this was our first double crochet chain 1, it's the second double crochet chain 1, the third double crochet chain 1, and so on, in total 11 times. After the 11th double crochet, don't make a chain. Altogether, including the starting chain where we worked the slip stitches, you should now have 12 double crochets. Next, we'll move along our foundation chain. In the very next free stitch, make a slip stitch. Then chain 2, skip 3 stitches on the chain, and in the 3rd stitch make another slip stitch. This is what it should look like so far. Now chain 3, and between the double crochets from the previous row, right where we had the chain spaces, we are going to make a double crochet cluster. So right here, between double crochets, yarn over, insert the hook. Right here, grab the yarn, pull it out, crochet only 2 loops on the hook. Then yarn over again, insert the hook into the same place, grab the yarn, pull it out, crochet only 2 loops on the hook, then 3 together. It's our double crochet cluster. Then make chain of 3, 1, 2, 3. And between the next double crochets, make the same double crochet cluster. Like this, and chain 3. You need to repeat this all around the row 11 times. After the last cluster, don't chain 3, just chain 1. Then move up along the foundation chain and into the second stitch make a slip stitch. That closes our round. Now chain 5. And make a single crochet into the next chain space, into the next arch right here. Again chain 5 and single crochet into the next space. Repeat, chain 5, single crochet into the next space. And the last one, chain 5 and make single crochet into the next space. You should now have 4 arches at the bottom. We've just finished the very first motif and now we are moving on to the second one. Don't worry, the first motif isn't complete yet, we'll close it off at the top later. For now, chain 18. This will be the start of our second motif and we'll be working it exactly the same way as the first. Go into the 5th chain from the hook and make 3 slip stitches up. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 and into the small ring work the combination double crochet plus chain 1 11 times. Right here, the first double crochet and chain 1 into the same space, the second double crochet, chain 1, and so on, in total 11 times. After the last double crochet, don't make chain. In the next free stitch of the chain, work a slip stitch, then chain 2, skip 3 stitches and into the 3rd stitch make another slip stitch. Now make chain of 3, and just like in the first motif, we are going to work clusters with 3 chains in between. Repeat the sequence 11 times all the way around, double crochet cluster between the double crochets from the previous row and chain 3. After the last cluster, don't chain 3, just chain 1, then in the second stitch along the chain make a slip stitch. Now make chain 2 and join with a slip stitch into this chain space, this arch of the first motif, the one right under the long chain. We've just joined the 2 motifs together, be careful here so they don't get twisted. Chain 2 and then join back to our second motif, the one we just made, into the next chain space, into the next arch with a single crochet. And this is what you should have so far, a long chain connecting the 2 motifs. Next, we'll work the arches at the bottom. Chain 5 and single crochet into the next chain space of the same motif. Repeat this until you have 5 arches total at the bottom. Here's how it looks. We have the join between the motifs, the long chain at the top, then the little cross, and finally 5 arches at the bottom. All of the following motifs will be worked exactly the same way as the second one. If you notice, the very first motif has fewer arches at the bottom, so it looks a little different. But every motif after that will be made just like the second one. So now, chain 18, go back to the beginning steps of the second motif and repeat the process. Continue making as many motifs as you need to fit around your head. Since I'm using very fine yarn, I'll make about 7 motifs. I recommend making 6 motifs because that will be a little easier. For example, for the head with sparkles, I worked 6 motifs using 2 strands held together. The piece turns out larger. I just hold the motifs up to my head and check if they fit nicely. You can allow for a little bit of a stretch. By the way, for those of you who are still watching and made it this far into the tutorial, here's a little tip. Belts are super trendy right now, you know, that Y2K style, and they look almost exactly like this. You can take a chunky yarn and crochet a belt using these motifs in a single row, and you'll have a really stylish accessory. A little secret for those who stayed with me until now. The length of my motifs is 45 centimeters. Now we're going to work the top row and make the upper arches across the motifs. It's really simple. Start by chaining 5 and we'll continue crocheting arches along the last motif. Before the long chain, count the arches. There should be 10 arches, not including the 2 we used to join the previous motif. Before that long chain, make chain of 2, then make a slip stitch into that long chain. Next, chain 2 again and join the next motif with a single crochet into the next arch right here. Then continue making arches along the top. Chain 5, single crochet, repeat in the same way. When you reach long chain again, just chain 2, slip stitch into it, chain 2 and join the next motif. Continue this way along the top, working across all motifs. I'll meet you again when we get to the last motif and then we'll join everything in a circle. So I've reached the very first motif. After the big arch I joined with a single crochet. Now we just need to repeat the regular arches 4 times. That means after the short arch, you should have 4 regular arches on top. Now we're going to join everything in a circle, carefully so nothing gets twisted. Chain 2. On the last motif, you should have 4 regular arches on top, not counting the short arch with 2 chains. Into the 5th arch, join to the first motif with a slip stitch. Then chain 2 again and join back to the first motif with a single crochet. Chain 2 once more, and in the next arch of the very last motif, join with a slip stitch. Chain 2 again and back to the first motif with a single crochet. Now chain 1 and make a slip stitch into the very first chain space we started with. chain 1 and cut the yarn. And this is what we have, a pretty headband. If you like, you can leave it just like this and wear it as a hair accessory. It looks really beautiful too. Next, we'll repeat the same rows upward, but this time we'll also be joining the bottom row. Don't worry, it's not complicated at all. To start the second row, make a slip knot and join it into the second arch. Here's the joint, the arch with just 2 chains. Then the first regular arch, and we're going to join it into the second regular arch. Right here. So grab the yarn, pull it out, and make chain of 16. And now we'll start working the motif exactly the same way we did before. I'll meet you again when we start the third row with the arches. I made the first motif, joined the second row and chained 2. Now we're going to join into this bottom arch of the motif we started from, using a slip stitch. Next, make chain 2 and join into the next arch of the motif we are working on, with single crochet. Chain 2 again. And now pay close attention. We don't join into the small arches where the motifs are connected, but into the first regular arch after those joins, right here. Slip stitch to join. Then chain 2 and back into the first motif with a single crochet. Chain 2, then join into the next arch on the first row with a slip stitch. Chain 2 and back into the first motif with a single crochet. This is what you should have, a little hole in the middle, it's okay. Next, chain 5, join into the next arch on our motif, chain 16, and continue working the second motif in this row as usual. I've finished the second motif and now I'm chaining 2 as usual and join it with a slip stitch into this bottom arch. Chain 2 again and join back with a single crochet into the next arch. Chain 2 again, and now we need to join into the first regular arch after the joins. The first regular arch here, join with the slip stitch. Chain 2, join back with single crochet into the next arch, chain 2, and then into the second arch, regular arch, the same way with a slip stitch. Chain 2 and join back with a single crochet. Now chain 2 and join the next motif from the previous row, again into this first regular arch after the joins, right here. Join exactly the same way. So the new top motif sits neatly between the 2 motifs from the previous row. Chain 2, join back into the next arch, then chain 2 and join with a slip stitch into the next arch of the bottom motif. Again, chain 2, join back with single crochet, and this is what we should have. Next, chain 5, join into the next arch with a single crochet, chain 16, and work the motif exactly the same way we just did with the second motif. So follow carefully how we join the second motif, then for the rest of the motif around this circle, you'll join them the same way. On the second row you should end up with 7 motifs, just like the first row, or 6 or however many you made. I'll meet you again when we reach the last motif. Remember, the new motif we are working should join into this bottom arch, then into these regular 2 arches, and then 2 regular arches of the next motif from the previous row. I finished all 7 motifs and I'm not joining the last one to the first just yet. We are continuing with the top arches. So I keep working. Chain 5, then single crochet into the next arch, just like we did on the first row. When we reach this large arch, chain 2, join with a slip stitch into this large arch. Chain 2, then single crochet into the next free arch of the next motif. Chain 5 and continue this way all the way back to the first motif. I'll meet you when we get to the first motif. So, on the first motif, I just joined with 2 chains, next chain 5, and work with the first arch, then second arch, third, and fourth. You should have 4 arches on top. Next, chain 2 and join to the very last motif. The top of that motif should also have 4 regular arches on top. Join into the 5th arch of the last motif with a slip stitch. Then chain 2, join back into the first motif with a single crochet into the next arch. Chain 2, join to the last motif with a slip stitch. Chain 2, back into the first motif. Now we have this small space left into the middle. We'll simply make a slip stitch into the arch where we started chaining on the very first motif to finish the join. Make chain 1 and you can cut the yarn. And this is what it should look like. If you prefer a wider headband, you can stop here after just 2 rows. The following rows are worked exactly the same way as the second row. So go back to the beginning of the second row and continue working the new rows in the same way, joining each row just like we did. I'll be working 4 rows in total. If you are using 2 strands or a thicker yarn, I recommend trying it on as you go and maybe working only 2 rows. For the head I made with a glitter yarn, I worked just 2 rows before closing the crown. You can do 3-4 rows, as many as you like. After that we'll move on to the shaping the top of the head. I worked all 4 rows and this height is enough for me. You could actually stop at the 3rd row if you prefer, just see what works for you. Like I mentioned, for the glitter head I worked 3 rows before closing the crown. If you're working with only 6 motifs, it will be much easier to close the top than it is for us now, but don't worry, it's not difficult. I'll explain exactly how to close the crown. I think you'll manage even if you have more than 7 motifs. So what do we do now? We start a new motif exactly like before, and then we'll join it in a circle. If you're working with just 6 motifs, you'll only need 1 motif for the crown, and then you can crochet around it. So what we're doing now is starting 1 motif. For my head I'll also work just 1 motif for the crown, but look, if we count the top 3 arches, we have 28 arches. 7 motifs, 4 arches each, it's 28 arches. On our top motif we only have 12 arches. That means in some places we'll need to join the motifs twice in the same arch, and in some spots even 3 times. That's why I said if you're working with only 6 motifs around, it will be easier. You'll only need to join the motifs twice in the same arch instead of 3 times. So I'm joining the motif as usual. Chain 2, join into this arch, then chain 2, back to the first motif, it's our top motif, again chain 2, and then find the next regular arch on the next motif and join. Chain 2 as usual, then again into the second regular arch, chain 2, and now we're joining again into the same arch on the top motif, not the next one, but the same one. This is what I mentioned earlier, sometimes we need to work twice into the same arch. Basically, we're just going to crochet around this motif in a circle, working into each regular arch from the previous row. In some spots we'll work 3 times into the same arch on the top motif, and in other spots twice. It's not difficult, we're joining the same way we did on the previous rows, but this time we're just crocheting all the way around the top motif without adding new motifs, and join twice into the same arch or 3 times into the same arch. So continue working in the round around the top motif. I'll meet you at the very end. If you see that you have extra arches left, just work a few more times into the same arch, check against your head to see what looks best. It won't be very noticeable on the finished head, this is very top, and once the head stretches a little, any small mistakes or extra stitches won't be visible at all. I've reached the very beginning, and now all we need to do is make a slip stitch into the arch where we started the top motif, the one with the foundation chain. Make a slip stitch there, chain 1 and cut the yarn. And here's what we have. The crown looks neat, and as you can see, it hardly shows. If you had to join 2 or 3 times in the same arch, everything looks very tidy. The last step is just to hide all the ends, tie them around the stitches, cut them, and our heads are finished. Let's take a closer look. The head I made with a cotton and glitter yarn turned out more voluminous, and honestly I like it better. It only has 6 motifs around. The one I made with the regular cotton is more lacy and lightweight. Look, I still have this much yarn left from one skein, so I was able to make both heads from just one skein. The glitter head weighs only 39 grams, plain cotton one is even lighter, so I could definitely have made 2 glitter heads from a single skein as well. And here's the result. As I mentioned before, you can add little tassels or dangles to the back of the head, so it drapes beautifully over your hair. It will look even more magical and interesting. I really recommend trying the head with 3 strands of yarn or 2. I might even make another one myself. I still have 1 skein left, which is enough to make another head. As you can see, this is how the glitter head looks on me, and this is the regular cotton head. The cotton one is lighter, lacy, and fits closer to the head because of its thinness. Choose whichever style you like best. Looking back, I probably should have made 3 rows instead of 4 for this plain cotton head, just like I did with the glitter one. I thank you for watching this video. I'm sure you did it well. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments or DM me on my Instagram. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye, kitties!